Hi, my name is Victoria Galitzine. I'm a plein air artist. I work in oils. I've been painting sort of all my life, but I've been focusing on it now for about 4 years. I got the bug and I'm hooked. So yeah, I've been focusing on plein air and landscape painting specifically. I do other, pets and portraits and things like that, but I focus on landscape. There's something about trying to capture the light when you're outside and a moment in time in an environment. I'm a nature nerd myself, so just the great outdoors is inherently inspiring to me, and trying to capture some of that feeling onto a canvas it's something powerful. I grew up in the countryside in England, and so I was always surrounded by the natural world, always, and it was always a source of inspiration as a child, as a teenager, as an adult. So that's always been there. And then I've always also practiced art and painting, but then when those two sort of worlds came together in plein air landscape painting, and being outside is just something that really kind of lit my fire, you know. My father's a cartoonist, and my mum is also an artist when she finds the time for it, and so that was something that we just had in our home. So brushes and paints were never far away, so I probably picked them up very young, toddler age, I would imagine. I feel like I've definitely been getting better the more I really focus on landscape painting, so I'm definitely, I would say, more proud of my more recent works, because it shows the work that I've been putting in to improve. And just recently I started working on a very large landscape that I've never done before, which is a studio piece, and I've been really proud of how well that's going so far. I've been taking a lot of the lessons that I've learned from being outside in nature and then applying it to studio work, and it's been going really well. I feel really kind of proud of myself for kind of the learning path that I've been on, and putting in the hours and the brush miles, they call it. The challenge with plein air is you have a very short window of time to complete your painting. If you're planning to complete it on the spot, you have max 4 hours, maybe less. And because everything's changing so rapidly, the light's changing, the temperature's changing, suddenly a wind will pick up and blow you into a bush, and there's all these external factors that you can't control, and everything is just changing so fast. So you have to work fast, and that's a bit of a sort of a lesson in letting go of control. Whereas before, the painting I would do was sort of more meticulous, more realist, less of the impressionistic style that plein air painters tend to adopt, because you have to work so quickly. And so that was a big learning curve. And just, yeah, as I say, being outside in the elements presents so many unforeseen situations that make painting physically a challenge, and it's tiring. It's much more tiring than being in your studio. But then there's also something magical that you can sometimes capture with forcing yourself to work fast, that you don't necessarily achieve so well in the studio, because you have a comfortable, consistent environment. You can spend as long as you want, and so you can create something very different, but you sometimes don't have that freshness that people often achieve with a plein air work. You could be painting a scene, and suddenly the light does something interesting that you didn't expect, and actually sort of creates something more exciting. And you were maybe starting to do your scene with a specific light, but then it's changed, and that gives you the opportunity to switch it up and do something that's more exciting. So it's both challenge and opportunity, for sure. But there's certain times of day where the light's going to be doing a certain thing. It's going to be more consistent in the middle of the day when it's higher and when the sun is higher in the sky, but it might be more exciting in the morning when the shadows are longer, or the mornings here are often foggy, so then maybe it's the afternoon with the long shadows and the sort of the golden hour glow that everything gets. But the challenge with working at the sort of either end of the day is that it changes so fast. Everything changes so fast. So you just sort of have to know that that's going to happen. As you're working to block in your composition and your main shapes, you can sort of sketch out your shadow shapes, for example, and even though they're going to change as you're working, you can keep them there because they were there and you know what they did look like. And trusty, phone is very helpful as well, because you can use it to capture your composition, you can use it to capture how the light was at a certain moment. Your phone image is never going to reveal as much as your eye can see, but it can be a useful reference to look back on if you need to. Yeah, so whenever you're out in a natural environment or even an urban environment, there's going to be something that speaks to you. So first of all, I sort of look around and I try to figure out like what to me is speaking to me the most, what is exciting to me about this scene and this location. And for me, it's the views into the ridges of trees, because as the ridges of trees go back, the trees become more blue, and the last ridge of trees is really like it's not green at all, it's like a sort of a blue-pink color. And so that feeling of like a vast distance is to me the most inspiring thing about this spot particularly. It makes you feel like you can think bigger because you can see further, and so that is something that I shall attempt to capture in the painting today.